Hello, my name is Jenny, and I am here today to talk about the book Ask and It Is Given. And if you're someone who is getting into personal development and learning about the teachings of Abraham and law of attraction and manifesting and all of this stuff, you're probably overwhelmed and you probably are thinking to yourself, there is so much stuff that I need to learn and read and concepts that I don't fully grasp yet. And I understand that and I feel you. I've been there. So I wanted to make a book. It's not a review. It's a summary. I wanted to take this really important piece of work in the law of attraction and manifesting world, Ask and It Is Given by Jerry and Esther Hicks through Abraham Hicks, which we'll get into, and just break it down for you because not everybody has the time to sit and read or listen to all of the books that everyone tells you that you have to read when you're learning about this stuff and these concepts. And so this might be a little bit of a long video. And so I suggest treating it as kind of maybe taking an hour of your day on Saturday morning to sit with a notebook and just follow along with me. I'm going to give you a summary of what this book is about and an introduction to the major concepts that Abraham is discussing in this book so that you have an overall understanding. So that you have a better overall understanding of all of these basic concepts in the law of attraction. And I also am going to go through all 22 of the processes or exercises that Abraham provides. The first half of the book is more informational in nature. It explains the law of attraction, the law of vibration, manifestation, all of this stuff. And the second half of the book is actually a how-to. And there are 22 exercises, which Abraham calls processes, that they suggest you try and play around with and work with to help make manifesting in your life more of a fun process, something that you can try different things out, see what works for you, and just give you a lot of different strategies for how to start making these changes in your life and how to start changing your vibration and being more consistent with the way that you direct your thoughts and your focus and your emotions. And so we're going to get into all of it, but just so you know what you're in for, settle down, grab yourself a notebook and a pen, maybe a drink or something cozy, put a blanket on, I don't know, make this an enjoyable thing. Sit with me and let's get started. And we're going to talk about Ask and It Is Given. The way my dog is looking at me right now, precious. Gosh, I love her so much. Okay, for those of us who are on personal development journeys, there is a seemingly endless amount of resources out there to help us grow and learn about ourselves and our ability to change and improve our lives through various methods and understandings. And if you've been around the space for any length of time, then undoubtedly you will have run into Abraham Hicks along the way as one of those great resources. When I was starting out in my spiritual awakening, I discovered the many, many, many recordings of Esther Hicks on YouTube. Esther channels for the entity known as Abraham, answering people's questions at live events and conferences, cruise ships, and delivering wisdom from Abraham's higher intelligence to help us better understand ourselves and how the universal laws of energy work. The more I listened, the more I came to appreciate Abraham's teachings, not blindly or without any questioning, but just as one perspective amongst many that I could pull from informing my own worldview and understanding of what this existence is all about. And before I go any further, I want to just put out there my personal, sort of stance here. I do personally believe that we live in an energetic world and that we don't consciously understand or perceive everything that is in our universe. And yes, I do think that there is a universal or source energy that is all things. It's in all of us. It connects all of us to each other. That universal energy exists beyond our perception. And that also connects us to other things that are beyond our perception and our senses. And I personally do not think that any of this is constructed in any of the cosmologies that you would recognize from organized religions. I think that's one way that people try to understand it. But I don't prescribe to any of those specifically. I do think it's possible that there are spiritual beings or entities that exist beyond our ability to see or experience them physically. I believe that we have a higher self, ourself, that our energy is connected to the energy of all that is, and that there are ways that we can connect with our higher self, with our energy body, with all of the things in the energetic world around us that we don't physically see or interact with. And in that way, I think it's possible that Esther could be connecting and channeling with this energy known as Abraham that is not in our world physically. So I don't really know what to call myself. I usually go with something like spiritually agnostic, but leaning towards believing that there is more than there isn't more to life after we die. And there is more to life than what we can experience with our five senses. That's pretty much all I can say, and that feels pretty accurate to me. So I'm definitely not very concerned with labels, but if you were wondering, then just go with that. So when it comes to things like Esther and Abraham, Bashar, other channelers, I just like to keep myself open and curious, and then use my own discernment and intuition to see what feels truthful and possible and what does not. I don't always agree with every single thing I hear blindly without question, and I don't think you should either. But if you are open to considering that there is wisdom and perspective to be learned from someone like Esther or Abraham, then I would stick around for the rest of the video. If you, however, think that channeling is a hoax and anyone talking about energy is an idiot, and you have a real disdain for spiritual beliefs outside of your own, then I would say that this video probably is not for you, but thank you for being here all the same. So today I wanted to provide an overview of Ask and It Is Given, the most well-known book created by Esther and Jerry Hicks through their collaboration with Abraham as the source for the information in the book. And the full title is Ask and It Is Given, Learning to Manifest Your Desires. So this is a book of the teachings of Abraham, a group of non-physical entities that Esther channels. The core message of the book revolves around the law of attraction and how people can consciously create their reality through their thoughts and emotions. A huge theme of the book is that well-being is our natural state, but we often create resistance to this well-being throughout our time on Earth, and that by aligning our vibrations and energy with our desires and the natural well-being that is our true nature, then we can manifest that. Abraham talks about concepts like the emotional guidance system as a tool to understand our alignment. And this is basically just the understanding that positive emotions indicate alignment with our desires and well-being, and negative emotions indicate resistance to our desires, things that we don't want. And these concepts are important to understand as the basis for the content of the book. But let's also take a moment to discuss what exactly we are talking about here. So what do we mean with the terms energy and vibration? In order to fully appreciate and understand this book, you should have a basic understanding of what it means when we talk about energy and vibration. These terms are often scoffed at by people as woo-woo bullshit, but on a physics level, it's actually a pretty simple concept that's like, duh, like when you understand what it's referring to. So everything is energy, basically. All matter is made up of atoms, and on a subatomic level, particles like neutrons, protons, electrons, quarks. That's the type of stuff I'm talking about. I actually love talking about this stuff. In another life, I used to teach science to children at a children's science museum, and I was the chemistry teacher. So I used to talk about atoms a lot. If you can remember back to your science class, think about the model of an atom that you probably constructed somehow. And so you've got that nucleus, but on the outside of the nucleus is the electrons, and they are constantly revolving around the nucleus. The movement of these electrons, which are going all like this around the nucleus, creates a constant vibration based on their acceleration and their oscillation. because they do not remain stagnant ever. So they're always moving and adapting to everything that's around them and to each other all of the time. And this movement creates electromagnetic waves that can be felt and experienced in our real world as things like light and sound waves. And the constant flow of the connection of atoms to each other keeps their electrons in motion, and that movement is what we understand as energy. And we can understand and accept that energy and vibration are real when we see them doing things in our world. Like we can experience the change of a pitch in sound when you are higher versus when you are lower. And if you were reading those waves, you would see an actual difference in the structure of the waves between the high notes and the low notes. As a singer, I also have a lot of experience with this. We also understand that we are sending electricity through an outlet into our television by plugging it in, at which point the electricity travels through the cord into our television to allow us to turn it on. So we see and experience those things all the time, but we get really iffy about vibration and energy and how they operate when we can't see or experience what they're doing with our senses. And yet we know certain things. We can study the electromagnetic energy field of a living being. We can sense changes in it. We can read those things. We can observe them. And so we can read vibrational patterns, observe them all around our world based on the different states of things. With living beings, that can be changed by something as simple as an emotion. We've also studied how non-living things like water can change in reaction to what they're exposed to. There's a great study that shows the difference of how water behaves when it's exposed to positive environments versus negative environments. You can see the patterns in the actual water molecules that show vibrational differences in how the water is behaving in these different conditions. We can also capture our energetic vibration as color in aura photography. And all of this really scratches at the surface of a deep well of understanding that we have yet to develop about how energy and vibration affect everything in the world around us. So all you really need to ask if you're going to take Abraham's teachings seriously is whether you believe that our personal experiences, our emotions, thoughts, all of that can have an influence over our overall state of being, our energy, and the vibrations, the electromagnetic vibrations that we are creating. And once you remember that our atoms and molecules interact with the world around us, then I think it's much easier to understand that our state and our vibration and our energy can actually work with the things around us to have an actual influence over other things in the world in reaction to them. So that is my brief overview of energy and vibration. If you are following and you're open to going with that as a working understanding of all the things that we're going to cover today, then let's get started with the contents of the book here. So Ask and It Is Given is divided into two parts. The first explains the fundamental principles of the law of attraction, and the second offers 22 practical processes or exercises to help readers raise their vibration and attract their desires. Chapters 1 through 22 cover subjects like how to become the deliberate creator of your own world, using your emotional guidance system to figure out what you want and align yourself with it, understanding the basics of law of attraction and the art of allowing, and what it means to be a vibrational being, and how to redirect your focus and navigate challenges. So let's look at these concepts briefly. First, becoming the deliberate creator of your world. Abraham talks a lot about how we are deliberately creating our world all of the time, we just don't realize it. The difference in you living the life you prefer or continuing to live a life you do not prefer comes down to whether you are consciously directing your thoughts and emotions towards what you want or not. When we allow our focus, thoughts, and emotions to be directed everywhere and anywhere by the people around us, the things we're seeing, at the whim of whatever messages you get or beliefs you're on the receiving end of in a church pew or your school or wherever you are, this may end up directing our focus and hence our manifestations into things that we don't actually want or prefer, and we don't understand why this is happening because we're not necessarily paying attention to where our focus is. Abraham says, When you are consciously aware of your own thoughts and you are deliberately offering them, then you are the deliberate creator of your own reality. And that is what you intended when you made the decision to come forth into this body, meaning it's our natural state. Our emotional guidance system. So emotions are something that we can all understand on a basic level. We all have them, and they can come about in reaction to things, external things sometimes, or internal thoughts by focusing on something that stimulates an emotional response in us. And they can influence us physiologically as well. And our thoughts and emotions create vibrations in our energetic fields, which I kind of got into earlier. So yes, your emotions and your thoughts are extremely powerful. They create biochemical changes in your body that can influence your overall energetic state, which is why it's really important to focus your intentions on your desires and create a vibrational state that resonates with the state of well-being that comes from having your desires. Abraham says, your emotions are telling you everything you need to know about your connection to source energy. They're telling you how much source energy you're summoning in response to your focused desire. And they're also telling you if you are, in this moment of thought and emotion, in vibrational alignment with your desire. The tool that's given in the book to help you become more aware of your emotional state is the Emotional Guidance Scale. This is a sliding scale of states of being, ranging from fear, grief, depression, and despair at the bottom, to joy, freedom, love, and appreciation at the top. So when you're struggling, Abraham says it's important to assess how you feel and then just start reaching for a better feeling thought in order to start working your way up the scale. Get used to being cognizant of how you're feeling and consciously working towards feeling a little bit better, then a little bit better, then a little bit better. And the more you use this process to redirect your energy in a positive direction, rather than ruminating on all of the negative stuff, then the easier it will be to guide yourself to the energetic state that you actually wish to be in order to align with the desires that you have more often. The law of attraction and the art of allowing. So the law of attraction is a spiritual law that basically states that we attract what we are on an energetic level all the time. Our energetic state and our frequency are a reflection of our thoughts, feelings, and belief systems. So if we deliberately work on our energetic state, we can attract that which we choose to be in alignment with into our life, because the world around us is a reflection of our internal state. And the art of allowing is knowing that you have to tune your frequency to that of what it is you want to ensure that you're in the receiving mode where you're actually going to allow what you want to come into your life. It's like making sure that you're on the same radio station as the song that you want to hear. If you're trying to listen to, I don't know, Taylor Swift, but you're on a radio talk news channel, that's probably not going to happen. You got to change the station. Feeling unlucky and expecting difficulty in getting what you want or not believing that you could ever get it or deserve it creates a lot of resistance. You have to get to a place where you feel like it's actually a certainty, where you're excited and welcoming and you feel blessed in your life, accepting that good things happen to you all the time. Abraham says, the art of allowing is the art of no longer resisting the well-being which you deserve. The well-being that is natural, the well-being that is your legacy, your source, and your very being. Being a vibrational being is the understanding that your point of focus, your activated thoughts that you are focused on, create your dominant vibration. And that dominant vibration is your point of attraction, meaning the thing that is attracting or manifesting life experiences into your life. I really like this section in the book explaining it, so I'm just going to read it to you. It makes no difference whether you are focusing on the past, present, or future. You're still focusing energy, and your point of attention or focus is causing you to offer a vibration that is your point of attraction. When you spend time pondering, remembering, or imagining something, a vibration is activated within you. If you return to that thought, you again activate the vibration. The more often you revisit the thought, the more familiar the vibration becomes, and the easier it is for you to activate it, until eventually it becomes a dominant vibrational pattern within you. And as it plays a larger role in your vibrational pattern, things that match it begin to show up in your experience. And so there are two surefire ways to understand what your vibrational offering is. Notice what is happening in your experience. For what you are focused upon and what is manifesting are always a vibrational match. And notice how you feel, because your emotions are giving you constant feedback about your vibrational offering and your point of attraction. How to redirect your focus and navigate challenges. So this is the one that I find the hardest to conceptualize. And it's also just such a valid thing to need a better understanding of, because we live in a world with a lot that seems to be out of our control, but still affects us. So I will tell you what Abraham has to say. The only reason you could ever experience something other than what you desire is because you are giving the majority of your attention to something other than what you desire. When you give your attention to something that you desire, you say yes to it. You're including that in your vibration. But when you look at something you do not want and you say no to that, you are, unfortunately, still including it in your vibration. When you give no attention to it, you do not include it. But you can't exclude anything that you are giving your attention to, because your attention to it includes it in your vibration, every time, without exception. So even giving attention to things that you don't want and thinking things like, I really hope this doesn't happen, can still attract them, because your thoughts are creating a matching vibration to the thing that you're focused on. And what are you focused on if you say, I really hope this doesn't happen? You're focused on the thing happening. So the way to deal with negative things and possibilities around you is to immediately remove your focus once you realize that that has come into your conscious thoughts, and redirect it to something that feels better. And you can use the emotional guidance skill to do this if it feels like it's a pretty big leap to think of a thought that feels like happy or joyful. You don't necessarily have to do that. Just move up the scale a little bit by choosing something that's not as negative as what you were thinking. So yeah, all of the folks on here talking about being delulu and ignoring your current situation if you're trying to manifest something different are kind of on the right path, according to Abraham here. All right, so I want to add personally that I think of this in two scales. So there's your personal life and experiences, and then there is the larger society. And you can see and be impacted by things that are happening in the world around you, even if you're not specifically giving it a lot of attention, in my opinion, because the overall frequency of the majority of people has been focused on it. Even if it's just through our fear of it happening, we're still focused on it. Therefore, it kind of is attracted to the general collective. But, when we see stuff like that, I think it's important to remember that the more and more individuals who give their focus to something else instead will be able to eventually move us in a different direction. So right now, for example, we are seeing a lot of bad things in the world around us. A lot of chaos, a lot of scary things. But we can control where our thoughts and focus are, and use that to help us align energetically with better things for the world than what we have right now in our current reality. And we can all do this differently. For some people, you may have to withdraw your focus from all of the things happening out there and just really take care of yourself and nourish yourself and pay special, attention to your energy and your focus to make sure that you're staying in a place where you can be happy and healthy just in yourself in your everyday life. Other people might do that through taking action that is directed at fixing the issues, at helping people who are being impacted by it, by doing things to develop better systems and technologies to address the issues that we have, and speaking out about how we can do better and be better, and just helping other people to live better lives, helping people to escape from the cycles of fear and blame and hatred that they have had pushed onto them. So at the end of the day, we are not focusing on the fear of what's happening and the fear of things getting worse. We are choosing to focus on what we can do today to make people's lives better and the hope of things getting better in the future. So even though at first this concept did sound pretty dismissive to me, the way that Abraham describes it, of the fact that there are many people in the world who are struggling right now, and some of that is happening because of the actions of other people that they had no control over. But this reframing has kind of helped me find ways to understand that perspective as far as law of attraction goes. So by removing our focus from the things that we don't want anymore, and instead focusing on creating solutions and helping people, that feels a lot better to me than just accepting that there's nothing we can do right now and sticking my head in the sand and ignoring it. So when things are difficult and when you are facing challenges, there is something that you can do about it. You can always choose to refocus and pivot your thought processes and the things that you are stuck and struggling with to focus instead on what you would prefer to happen and the way that you wish things would change for the better. Also focusing on improving your personal vibration by going through these processes to help yourself be more aligned with what you desire and with the higher vibrational end of the emotional guidance scale, so that you are in a state more often of higher vibration, will help everyone across the board, and it will help raise the vibration of the planet overall. And that is what's going to get us to move in a better direction in the future. So those are what I would say are the major concepts covered in the first half of the book. Now, this is the fun part where we get to go through the 22 processes that Abraham gives us to help us learn how to manifest our desires. Now, I'm going to give you a brief rundown of each one, and I'll let you know if I tried it and what I thought about it. The cool thing is, at the beginning of every one of those processes, they tell you when this might be helpful for you. Like if you're experiencing this mindset, then you might want to attempt this exercise. So that's cool. They also outline what level of the emotional guidance skill you might be in if you are in need of this process. So just some general helpful information at the beginning of each one to help you figure out if this is something that would help you in this moment. All right, so now let's talk about the 22 processes. Process 1 is the rampage of appreciation, which is to actively focus on things that you appreciate to raise your vibration. So if you have never listened to any of Abraham's rampages, I highly recommend them, especially their morning rampage. Now you can find Abraham Hicks' morning rampage on YouTube, and I recommend listening to this in the morning. This is Abraham going on a rampage of appreciation for the day and everything and all the good, incredible things that could come out of your day. And it really, it's one of my favorite things to do when I'm waking up and getting ready and starting my day. And you can do it too. A rampage of appreciation is when you just go off on all of the things that you enjoy and appreciate about something. And as you start and you sort of open the floodgates, you'll find yourself going on and on and on and getting more hyped up about how good it feels to do certain things, or the fact that you have certain things in your life. You'll get into a flow about it, and then all of the positive things that you could possibly think about this thing are just pouring out of you. And you can do this out loud anytime you want. I recommend taking out a voice recorder. You could do it on audio. You could take a video of yourself doing this. It's cool to be able to revisit it whenever you want to get hyped up about something. I do this with my voice recorder on my phone, and I love it. It always makes me feel really, really freaking good. And feeling good, as we know, raises your vibration, baby. Process 2 is the magical creation box. So you are going to be writing your desires on slips of papers and placing them in a special box. That's all it really is. You can cut pictures out of magazines, like a vision board. You can write down your little wishes on tiny scraps of paper. Whatever pops into your head that launches a rocket of desire for you, as Abraham would say, can go in the box. It's like asking the universe for a wish, which if you keep yourself in a state of positive vibration, it can bring to you. I just started this one today, and I think it's really cute. And I think this would be a really cute one to do with your kids. All you need is a little container, a box, a dish, something to put your little wishes in. And it's a great way to figure out where you want to direct your focus and your desires, and launch these little rockets of desire of oh, this would be fun, but keep it light. And the universe likes that when you keep the energy light and fun. Abraham is a big fan of making things fun and thinking about everything like it's a game. Process 3 is the creative workshop. So dedicate a specific time and a special place to do this exercise, which will help you articulate what it is you want and why, in order to help the universe understand what kind of magnet you are so it can respond with aligned experiences. So you're going to create 4 columns on a piece of paper. Label them my body, my home, my relationships, my work. And then just quickly jot down a list of all the things that come to mind that you want in each category. It does not need to be super extensive. It's just whatever comes to your mind in the moment. And then for each thing, write next to it reasons why you desire them. If you wrote, I want to feel strong and fit, maybe follow that up with, because I love having the energy and stamina to do all of the things that I want to do. Focusing on what you want and adding a reason that can connect with you emotionally and make you feel really good about this thing coming into your life is a really great way to focus and create a strong vibration around your desire, which will also help lessen the resistance you have around it. Process 4, virtual reality, using vivid imagination to experience your desired reality. This is simply the practice of visualization. So by intentionally creating time to close your eyes and imagine a scenario based on your desires, fully allowing yourself to feel and enjoy the emotions that it creates in you, you can create vibrational alignment between you and this desired reality. I've been using visualization for years to mentally rehearse for the life that I'm creating while it is still in process, to teach myself to hold on to and recreate the emotional and vibrational state that will align me and open me up to allowing the well-being that I'm calling in until it becomes a part of me. And I highly recommend this practice to everyone who's fairly new to all of this and may still be struggling to simply achieve a better feeling state than they're currently used to. This is a great way to clarify what you want and to think about what your life would actually be like when you have it. And allow yourself to just really play with that, to get lost in the emotion and the experience of the dreams that you have for yourself. And when you can imagine that reality and sort of figure out what is standing between you and that, like the you are today and the you in your vision, like there may not be a lot of room between you guys. Like maybe you could just, step into that life tomorrow if you just changed your perspective, stayed in a constant state of aligned vibration around it. It makes it feel a lot more tangible, which is the coolest part about it. Process 5 is the game of prosperity. So pretend that you have unlimited financial resources and then decide how you would spend them. This was my absolute favorite exercise. My absolute favorite exercise from the book. I did this exercise for an entire month. I spent a month repeating the process every single morning. And what you do is I started a pretend checkbook in a journal of mine. And every day I wrote myself a check that I had to spend that day. Like a deposit came in from the universe that was meant to be used that day to increase my well-being. And the only rule is that you can't save it. You have to spend it that day. Day 1, you deposit and spend a check for $1,000. On day 2, you deposit and spend a check for $2,000, and so on until day 31. And on day 31, you're depositing and spending $31,000. It was really fun. I got to get excited about spending this generous and felt like endless flow of money that was coming into my life on things that would make my life better. And it made me feel so happy to take the universe's investment and pour it into myself. I poured it into my house, my son, my personal passions, into trips, into buying things for other people. And the surprising thing was how quickly all the necessities that I am focused on, like right now in my daily life, fixing up things in my house or setting up things to help me live the way I want, they were taken care of so quickly. By day 20, I think I had pretty much solved every single problem that I would consider myself to have, like every single one. That was it. just 20 days. And all of my problems have been solved. And then I could go from that point into really having fun, investing in myself, having a blast going on adventures with my kid. I treated myself to things that I would never spend money on in my everyday life. And then there was even more money coming every day that I needed to use. And I was like, what am I going to do with all this money? So I started thinking much more generously about how I could use all the rest of these resources to help other people and to help the planet. By the end of the month, I felt so wealthy, not just in like having money in my bank account, but like wealthy in spirit. Like I had everything I could possibly ever want or need. And I just had this endless flow of resources that I could use to help make people's lives better and make the world a better place. And it made me feel so good inside. It was an incredible feeling. And yeah, that's why that one was my favorite. And it was just fun. I'd be like, I've been wanting a new countertop for 3 years. Check, bang, countertop, done, day 4. That always feels good. Process 6, the meditation. This is just practicing daily meditation to help quiet your mind and connect with your inner guidance. So meditation, it's fairly obvious what the benefits of meditation are, but for people who struggle with sitting in silence and just being in meditation with no aim at all, you could also think about meditation as a way to help you connect with your inner guidance so that you can better understand how you feel about things and about life. So going into it with the intention of sitting, clearing your mind, really feeling into your body, going into that place where you really are free of all of the outside influence that is telling you what you should think and how you should feel about everything. And really actually looking inside and getting in sync with what your own guidance system says and how it feels. I think that's incredibly valuable to have that ability and to have that time to spend just in your own energy, in your own space, in your own mind, without trying to accomplish anything besides just feeling into your own intuition and your own inner guidance on life. So there's so many things you can get out of meditation and so many different things you can use it for. But if you want just sort of a more basic approach, that's how I would recommend approaching meditation for this intensive purpose. Process 7, evaluating dreams. So Abraham believes that dreams reflect back to you a version of the thoughts and vibrational state that you're creating. So if you've been too focused on a certain fear, for example, then that might manifest as a scenario in your dreams, like a nightmare. But paying attention to your dreams can really help you understand what's going on with you vibrationally and illuminate things that you might not even really be consciously aware of. Dreaming is also an opportunity to understand what state your thoughts are putting you into and to set an intention every night with your inner guidance to allow you to remember anything important that you need to be paying attention to from your dreams when you wake up. Thinking about what they might be saying to you, how you felt as a result of what happened in the dream, that can be really helpful as you untangle yourself from the world and the mental state that you've been living in. And if you have recurring dreams, that's definitely something that you should look into some dream interpretation books of. They can be extremely helpful in understanding what your dreams are telling you about your subconscious mind. Process 8 is the Book of Positive Aspects. Journaling exercise that is listing the positive aspects of people, situations, or things to shift your focus about them. So Abraham writes, the more positive aspects you search for, the more you're going to find. And the more positive aspects you find, the more you'll search for. And in the process, you'll be activating within yourself a high vibration of well-being. So I started a Book of Positive Aspects journal, and I've really loved sitting down to choose a topic to go off on. And I find that once I get started, if I imagine Esther's voice in my head and the way that she would do it, it really helps me just take off and go on it's similar to the rampage of appreciation about all of the positive things that I can find about something and its impact on my life. Process 9 is the process of scripting, a journaling exercise where you write in detail everything that you want to happen about something specific, or to write about your ideal day, your dream life, whatever level you want to approach it on, as if you have like a magical pencil that is creating whatever you write as you write it and creating it to be true. So Abraham emphasizes that this should be thought of as a game, and this should be fun, and it should feel good to think about. So enjoying the process helps you focus your energy and your emotion on the positive outcome of what is happening because you're having fun with it, which helps you go into it offering less resistance. And ultimately, because of that, you're offering your vibration and your focus really deliberately on these things without as much resistance. And by practicing the feeling of the life that you want to live by scripting about it, you're really aligning yourself with that thing vibrationally in a really fun way that allows it to come to you more easily. Personally, I did a lot of scripting when I was going through the process of having to sell my old house and find a new place to live before I moved into this house. And I scripted about the entire experience, about how it was going to go, about how it felt to be in my new house, about how easily the house came to me, about how perfectly the house fits me, about how it was exactly what I was looking for, how it was in the kind of location that I wanted it to be in, that it would be surrounded by the woods, all of these things. I scripted about pretty regularly. And I got to say, like, that's exactly what happened. I sold my other house very easily, and I found this house very easily. It felt like it was delivered to me on a silver platter, to be honest. It was that easy. It pretty much everything I wanted is what I got with this place. And I don't know, did scripting make that happen? Maybe. I think it helped for sure. Process 10 is the placemat process. This is a way of dealing with the overwhelming to-do list that you have if you have a really busy lifestyle. Esther did this one day in a restaurant, I think, because Abraham popped into her head and was like, "You're being really silly about stressing over your to-do list. Let's just do it this way." So you take a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle. On one side, write, "Things I will do today," and on the other side, write, "Things I would like the universe to do." This makes you put intentional thought into what you choose to put your energy and focus towards, and clarify what's not really a priority for you in terms of what you're intentionally working on and creating. But it leaves room for the universe to assist you by opening avenues for the other tasks on your to-do list to get done, and it also provides you with clarity on what you might be able to just remove altogether. I feel like I should probably do this one. I don't think I've tried it yet, but I'm constantly overwhelmed by the enormity of my to-do list. So yeah, I should try that one. Process 11 is segment intending. So think of the different buckets of things that you do in a day, like your morning routine, then getting ready for your work, then doing your job. Maybe after work, you're running errands. Then when you get home, you're taking care of kids or making dinner. And then you got to get ready for bed. Like there's thing to thing to thing to thing to thing. So before starting a new activity or segment of your day, you are going to take a brief pause to clear yourself of whatever it is you're leaving behind in the last phase and set your intentions for the next phase of your day so you can head into that new period or, sort of set of activities focused on what you want to happen during that segment. This is important because often we rush around from one thing to another without giving ourselves any time to wrap up the mental processes or emotions that might have been involved in the first thing we're doing to make a clean transition so that we can be fully present in the next set of activities or actions that we're doing. So our minds might still be thinking about things from 2 hours ago instead of focused on the task at hand. And a lot of the things that we're trying to do might get tainted by the lingering effects of earlier segments. Like, say you were trying to get ready for work, but then your dog threw up on the carpet. This has happened to me before. Oh my gosh, throws your entire morning off. You've got to stop what you're doing, take care of your dog, clean up the mess. It has taken away time. Now you're kind of grossed out because you had to deal with dog vomit. Like that just can really ruin your morning, right? And so you started off for work late. And then your entire commute, you're in a bad mood. You get to work, you're still in a bad mood. You're annoyed. You get in trouble because you're late. And then it affects the entire rest of your day. Segment intending is just a way to make sure that we like set the slate clean before we move from one thing to another. So yes, that may have happened and that might have been super annoying and frustrating and set you back, on your attempt to get ready for work. But by taking just a minute, literally a minute, before you walk out the door to like get a little zen about it, shake it off, get it out of your system, process that was really annoying, but you're not going to let it ruin the rest of your day. Now you're going to set the intention, okay, fresh, big breaths, deep breaths, allow ourselves to process if we're still really frustrated, allow ourselves to feel that for a minute, right? And then eventually that feeling is going to pass. If you give it space and time to do that, now you can actually leave the house, think to yourself, okay, now I'm going to have a really nice commute to work. I'm going to have a relaxed work day, and I'm going to, maybe calmly explain to my boss why I was late. And hopefully they'll understand and everything will be totally fine. That is something that I don't think we do very often. I think we usually would allow that to ruin our entire day. And I really like the thought behind segment intending. It makes us make space in our life to be a little bit more intentional about how we are approaching the different areas of our lives that we have to perform in and the things that we have to do and the people that we're around at different times of the day, and bring the energy and the focus that is needed for each specific thing to that, instead of being a mess because we had a really harried morning and now we're really scattered and all over the place. I really like this. I've tried it, and I had a little journal where I would break down my day into segments to remind myself, when I'm transitioning from one thing into another, that's when I need to take a minute to work on intentions for the next segment and really clearing out and finishing off anything that was lingering from the first part. I think for certain people, as an ADHDer, transitioning from different things, especially if it involves getting into a car, getting out of a car, going here, that can be a little bit difficult. And I really like the process of segment intending for easing that transition and helping me mentally get into a better space to go from one thing to another. Process 12 is the wouldn't it be nice if process. And this is just a phrase to use to gently introduce positive possibilities without feeling the pressure to manifest them immediately. It's a good way to shift your mindset into just a more positive state when you're dealing with desires and situations that you'd like to manifest in the future. You can just practice replacing the language with which you're talking about things that you want to have or want to happen with, wouldn't it be nice if? So instead of saying, I want my business to make 10K a month, or why isn't my business making 10K a month, which both focus on the fact that you are not making 10K a month, you could try, wouldn't it be nice if my business made 10K this month? That's a much softer and more open way to play with the energy of your manifestation that focuses on the possibility of what you want happening and not the fact that it hasn't happened yet. And that is actually a really big difference when it comes to your energy and the vibration that you're offering about it. Hey there, we're back on a different day to continue on with Process 13. Process 13 is which thought feels better. And the point of this is to consciously choose thoughts that feel better and lead to a more positive emotional state. Abraham suggests writing this exercise out on a piece of paper as you learn how the thought process works, and then eventually it'll be easy to just integrate it as part of your normal operating system every day. So take a subject in your life and write down how you think you feel about it in the moment. And then write a couple more lines, really exaggerating this perspective. Think about how those statements feel in your body. And then tell yourself that you're going to reach for something better feeling about this subject. And then start writing that. Taking your current thoughts and seeing what perspective you can give to the situation to make it feel a little bit better. See if that feels better in your body, and then keep going and adapting your feelings about the matter as you open up to seeing it in different ways that put you in a better feeling state. So the example here that they give is you are upset with your daughter because she isn't helping to clean up around the house. So that's the situation. And so you write how you're really feeling right now. So my daughter is deliberately trying to make my life difficult. She doesn't care about me at all. She doesn't even come close to doing her share of the work. And then start writing some statements kind of based off of that and allow them to evolve in a more positive direction. So she never listens to me. I want her to be more responsible. I shouldn't have to pick up after her. I should have taught her better. I wish her father would support me more because a clean house is important to me. And I do know that she has a lot on her mind, and I do remember what it was like to be a teenager. I also remember when she was a sweet little girl. I wish she was still that sweet little girl. I don't really know what to do about this, but I don't have to figure it all out today. There are so many other things about her that I adore, and I know that there's more to life than just a clean house. But it should be okay that I want a clean house. It's all right that I want my house to be clean. And as you go, it says to remember that there's no right or wrong answers. And there's no telling you which thoughts are better than other thoughts to have about something. You have to tune into your guidance system to see how they make you feel when you say them. And then start leaning into the ones that feel better. And then try to see it from the perspective that feels better than the one you started with. And if you think that changing your perspective won't have any effect on the situation, Abraham disagrees with you. They say that your thoughts, which as we know are how you know what your point of attraction is, do influence everything and everyone that has anything to do with you. And so if you change your thoughts to improve your vibration and the state of your well-being, then the world around you will also improve. And the main point of this process is to continue to take your energetic state and your perspective into your own hands so that you are intentional about how you're thinking and feeling. You're intentionally choosing your point of focus and always working towards getting back to your natural state of well-being, even when something is annoying you or frustrating you or has been giving you a headache today. Next is process 14, clearing clutter for clarity. So this is about clearing out physical clutter to gain clarity about what you want and what is important to focus on in your life. So for this exercise, Abraham has detailed instructions about how to declutter your space. Go get some boxes and label them 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Take a box with you in the room that you are, and then go through that room and look at all of the items in your space, asking yourself, is this important to my immediate experience? And if it isn't, you put it in the box. They recommend making a voice recording or a written note of all of the items that are in each box and then just taping it to the box so that if you are looking for something later that you need, you can just look at the boxes and see quickly which one that thing is in. But the point is to go through your house and put all of the things that are not important to you right now in the boxes. And then put the boxes somewhere out of sight, like in the garage or the basement for a couple of weeks, and see if you need to retrieve anything from them. And that kind of tells you what actually matters to you. At some point later, you can decide if you want to move those items that are in the boxes into a storage facility or donate them if you haven't used them and have probably come to realize that they're just taking up space in your home and you don't actually need them there anymore. And this process is helpful because all items carry vibration. They're all made of atoms, right? So often we fill our lives up with stuff to help fill a void in ourselves from not being or having the things that we truly want. And this entanglement between our feelings of lack and the things that we buy due to that can get a little bit sticky. And it can also keep us from letting go of those feelings in order to move toward a vibration that's more in alignment with what we do want. You see, there's kind of a correlation there sometimes between your old stuck feelings and the stuff that you bought because of your old stuck feelings. If you get rid of the things, there's a pathway to clearing out the old stuck thoughts and beliefs that were attached to them. Those things can create resistance in our environment to change, and letting go of the things that are no longer aligned with what we're trying to create can help release that resistance and clear our minds and our energy. I'm actually going through a decluttering process in my house right now because I got to a point where I realized I really freaking need this. Process 15 is the wallet process. This will help with manifesting money. So carry an amount of money with you and spend it in your mind repeatedly all day to put yourself in the vibration to attract more money. Abraham says for this game, you should get yourself a $100 bill if you can, but a smaller bill will also suffice. Put it in your wallet or your purse and carry it around with you everywhere. And as you see things around you that you could buy, or you maybe have an interest in, say to yourself that I have the money to buy it if I want it. And you don't have to buy anything with that money. You could just say to yourself, oh, well, I could buy that if I wanted to. And you might mentally almost spend that $100 20 or 30 times a day, depending on what you're doing in your life. And that can really add up to a good amount of money in your vibrational escrow. Okay? And that builds a sense of financial well-being as you train yourself to remember that you have money anytime you think about buying something. Your sense of stability and abundance will grow, and your enjoyment in the thought of always having money if you need it for something will put you in the receiving mode for more actual money to come into your life. Process 16 is pivoting. Practicing the process of removing your attention from what you don't want and redirecting it to what you do want so you can more consciously offer your vibration. So of course we all experience negative feeling things. And whether that is news you hear or something you see or something that makes you respond initially with an emotion like sadness or anger or whatever it is, that's how life is, of course. But Abraham says it's kind of like picking up a stick. There will always be two ends on the stick. And that's because of contrast. Contrast is what they call the things we encounter that we do not prefer. However unpleasant they are, contrast tells us that on one, even though there's one side of the stick that's unpleasant, on the other side, we have the opportunity to at least say, okay, well, whatever it is that I definitely do not want has actually also helped me by clarifying immediately what I do want, which is not that. So one side of the stick can lead you toward a positive outcome, even if the other side of the stick is negative. So when something gives us an unwanted emotion or thought, that is just an opportunity to pivot away from that and direct your focus to what you do prefer. So you can ask yourself, if I don't want that, what do I want instead? And try to move your thoughts to that thing instead. Abraham says, the process of pivoting is the conscious decision to identify what it is that you do want. We do not want to imply that the feeling of negative emotion is a bad thing, because very often in the feeling of negative emotion, you are alerted to the fact that you are in the process of negatively attracting. And so it's like a warning bell. It's part of your guidance system. So that's it. Let your unwanted experiences help you gain clarity and choose to shift your vibration to what you prefer. And remember, when you change your vibration, you change the world around you to reflect that. Process 17, the focus wheel. Draw a circle and write your desire in the center, and then brainstorm reasons why it's achievable around the perimeter. Okay, so they say to draw a large circle on a sheet of paper, and then draw a smaller circle about 2 inches inside the larger circle. And let your eyes close for a moment and turn your attention to whatever happened that produced a negative emotion in you. And identify exactly what it is that you do not want. And then say to yourself, well, I clearly know what I don't want. What is it that I do want? And then write a bunch of statements around the outside edge of the circle, the larger circle, that match what you do want. And so as you start finding feelings and thoughts that start to feel within you a lot better, you move them into the middle of the focus wheel. And so you end up focusing on sort of developing the best feeling thoughts that could come out of that situation and focusing on them as you are writing up and filling them into the middle of the focus wheel. So that's kind of focusing your thoughts and your intention and your energy onto those things, to transform them away from where you were at beforehand. Process 18 is finding the feeling place, which is a lovely way of saying basically just visualization, focused on recreating the emotions of living in the end where you have what you want. So if you spend a lot of your time focused in life on what it feels like to not have enough money, to feel like nothing around you is the way you want it to be, like the fact that you're really unhappy with certain parts of your life and you stay focused on those things, obviously you are bringing more of that energy into your life. You are going to perpetuate those things by staying in that negative state, because that is the energy that you are putting your focus onto. Therefore, that is what you are going to manifest and match with. This is a way of getting away from those things and those thoughts and feelings and creating a better feeling place. And that place is inside you, and you can go there anytime. And yeah, it's just about getting into a state where you are allowing yourself to play in your imagination with all of the things that would happen in your life if everything worked out the way you wanted it to, and you had everything you needed and everything was going really well. Think about all of the things that would be happening once you were in that place and how they would make you feel. And the point of this is just to activate those vibrations within you, the vibrations of those emotions. The more you experience them and the more you align with them and the more you activate them within you, the more a match you will be to those states. And thus your outside will have to rearrange itself to reflect that back to you, baby. Process 19 is releasing resistance to becoming debt-free. So this is a way of taking stock of where you are in life by looking realistically at all of the debts that you have and the amount that you pay toward them each month, and making basically like a little spreadsheet for yourself where you list the total of the debt and then how much you're paying that month. And then Abraham says to add an extra column on the right of that reads, "It is my desire to keep my promise regarding all of these financial obligations, and in some case I will even do twice as much as is required." And then they recommend taking your smallest bill, if it's a recurring payment like a credit card, and every month doing your best to try and make a double payment on that bill. And this is basically like a good faith gesture to the universe that you understand and are doing your best to do your part to be generous in the repayment of your debts, to show them that you're willing and your energy is behind getting to the state of being debt-free. And hopefully the pride in that and the ability to feel good about the fact that you are moving toward a better place with your debt will create better vibrations in you. They will give you a better outlook and a better feeling about having your debt and about paying your debt. Instead of, I think a lot of the times we come toward paying debt and all of these things with a pretty negative feeling inside of us. Like we're mad that we got ourselves into this situation. We're upset that we have to pay this credit card bill or whatever it is, or our mortgage is too expensive and blah, blah, blah. And so when we go to pay it, we have a really negative association with that experience. And of course, we don't want to stay in that negative, bad feeling place. We want to try and move ourselves into a better vibration and a better feeling state about it, in order to help make the entire process sort of elevate to a higher vibration. And once you get up into a higher vibration, when it comes to your feelings about money and about having debt, then better feeling things, in the universe are going to be kind of colluding with you to help continue you feel good about that journey. And sometimes that will show itself in delivering extra money in order to pay your debts off faster. It may show itself in debt forgiveness coming your way. You never know how, once you get into a better feeling state about your debt, things can resolve themselves to make sure that you don't go back into that negative place about it. And hopefully also the exercise of paying twice on your lowest payment will help you get rid of that payment quicker, so then you can apply the overage to your next lowest payment, and then you'll start paying off your debt quicker and quicker if you stay with that sort of strategy as well. Here's what Abraham says about money. Your role is to utilize energy. That is why you exist. You are an energy flowing being, a focuser, a perceiver. You are a creator, and there is nothing worse in all the universe than to come forth into an environment of great contrast where desire is easily born and not allow energy to flow to your desire. This is a true squandering of your life. Whew. And so it is only in your thriving that you have anything to offer anyone. If you want to be of help to others, be as tapped in, tuned in, and turned on as you can possibly be. Feel appreciation for those who provide examples of well-being. How would you even know that prosperity was possible if there was not some evidence of it around you? All the resources you will ever need or want are at your fingertips. All you have to do is identify what you want to do with it and then practice the feeling place of what it will be like when that happens. Process 20, turning it over to the manager. So for this game, Abraham says to think about a company where there are lots and lots of employees and you're kind of up there, in the echelon, but you have a manager who kind of manages everything around you, top down. And whenever you have something that you need to get done that's kind of out of your hands, you say to your manager, hey, could you take care of this for me? And then he does. And so Abraham says, you do have a manager who is like that and much more. You have a manager who works continually on your behalf, called the law of attraction. And you have only to ask in order for this universal manager to jump to your request. So, make requests to your manager with the attitude of expecting results. And when you delegate in that way, you are doing the only two things that are required in deliberate creation. You are identifying your object of desire, and you are allowing the universe to yield it to you. You are not delegating your life, you are co-creating it. Process 21 is reclaiming one's natural state of health. So Abraham reminds us here that well-being is our natural state, and that means physical well-being as well as spiritual well-being. They say, it is natural for you to be absolutely well. It is natural for you to be abundant. It is natural for you to feel good. It is natural for you to feel clarity. Anytime you have physical discomfort of any kind, whether it's emotional or physical pain within the body, it always means the same thing. I have a desire that is summoning energy, but I have a belief that is not allowing it. So I've created resistance in my body. The solution every single time to the releasing of discomfort or pain is the relaxation and the reaching for the feeling of relief. So Abraham has a list of affirmations here that they suggest you lie down, take 15 minutes to lay, sort of close your eyes, get calm, clear your mind, and then go through this short list of affirmations. They're all about feeling well, obviously. And then just talking you through the process of reminding yourself that well-being is your natural state and that you're getting back to that place of well-being and that you're recognizing that there is some sort of resistance going on that is preventing you from being there. And it sort of like, gently guides you back to that place. And so your job is really just to lie there and relax and accept your new state of well-being to manifest. It's very similar to a lot of the other exercises that have talked about visualization and getting into the good feeling place. They say, make a decision about what you want, focus your attention there, and find the feeling place of it. And you are there instantly. There is no reason for you to suffer or struggle your way through anything. And then finally, process 22 is moving up the emotional scale. And this is about just getting to the root of where the real transformation needs to take place to get you from where you are to where you want to be. Abraham says, remember, there is no non-physical source of darkness, sickness, confusion, or evil. There is only the stream of well-being, and it is flowing towards you at all times. And unless you are offering resistance of some kind, you are the full receiver of it. And your emotions help you understand to what extent you are allowing or resisting the stream. This mindset and understanding has helped me a lot with thinking about things in terms of that flow of well-being. Am I standing in its way? Am I blocking it somehow? What is in the way of that stream flowing toward me like it is supposed to be? There is some sort of resistance that is blocking it if I'm not where I want to be. Abraham says, the distance you will be traveling is not the distance between not enough money or enough money, but instead the distance between a feeling of insecurity and a feeling of security. Once you practice the thought that makes you consistently feel more secure, then the money will follow. It's not necessarily about getting a thing. It's about improving your state and your vibration. And that is all through your focus. Once you change your focus, you will improve your state. And the things that you want that are in alignment with that state will follow. There are ways you might have to shift your focus a little bit in order to get from here to there. If you're working up from some really negative emotions, trying to get to a more positive state. But if you shift your perspective a little bit and maybe think about something related, but not exactly the subject that made you upset in the first place, something's, sort of surrounding it, you can see how you can kind of work yourself up that scale and kind of start walking up the staircase to get closer and closer to actually finding appreciation and, positivity and optimism and even love and joy about that situation. Not the situation itself, but like in life, just a way to find positivity, optimism, appreciation, love, and joy in life. It does not have to be about that situation, just to be clear. I don't think the point of it is to pretend that the bad things do not exist. I think it's to remember that the entire point of this is to become the conscious creator of your life by being intentional and conscious of where your focus is and how that is affecting you emotionally. And looking for ways to teach yourself to take bad situations and negative places and allow yourself to accept that they exist and then try to find a way to a better feeling or optimistic view on life in general to get yourself out of that. Okay, if you have stuck with me this entire time, thank you. You're a trooper. This was a long video, and that is because this is a book with a lot of information in it, and it's got these 22 processes. Took quite a while to get through all of them, but we did it. In my opinion, this book is a little bit repetitive if you are someone who is already well-versed in law of attraction literature, or if you watch a lot of Abraham Hicks. A lot of this might be kind of repetitive for you. So just know that going into it. I really liked the experience, but I did feel like a lot of it was kind of beating a dead horse on certain topics that I was already very familiar with. So I definitely would recommend this to people who are a little bit newer and haven't exactly sat down or spent a lot of time listening to or learning from Abraham yet. That is Ask and It Is Given by Esther and Jerry Hicks through Abraham Hicks, or Abraham Hicks through Esther and Jerry Hicks, whichever. Thank you for watching today. I will talk to you again real soon. Bye.